February 15th, welcome back to Edgework. I'm Zack Phillips, joined here today by So Money alongside Rusty Bill as well. We'll break down all 12 games ahead of us on the schedule here tonight. Hopefully everybody had a good Valentine's Day last night with a lighter NHL schedule and a 1-0 night from the Edgework crew. We give out a plus money play and bring it home for the winner to get us back on track after 2-7 on Tuesday. So we'll look to continue that here with the Thursday guys on today's show. We'll roll right through, break down the games for tonight, break down the games that these guys have bets in as well, open up things and see if there's any other games that maybe we're just not quite there yet on. And if you guys do have questions on some games that are covered, aren't covered, whatever it is, make sure to ask those in the chat there, and we'll try to get to them throughout the course of the show here today. But before we can get into anything, I want to remind people that today's show, as always, is sponsored by BetStamp. The easiest way to improve as a sports bettor is by using multiple sports books and always getting the best odds. We recommend using an odds comparison tool like BetStamp to help you do so. BetStamp compares odds across every sports book, whether it's for games, futures, or player props. You can save time and money by checking BetStamp before you bet. So make sure to download the app today. It is available on iOS, Android, as well as on the web. And finally, if you are looking to sign up for a new sportsbook account, please check out the offers available at betstamp.app/edgework. That's betstamp.app/edgework. Signing up through this link does help support the show. Gentlemen, we are now 236, 234, and 5 on the season. But as we know, experienced bettors, the record doesn't really matter that much. What matters is a 6.1% ROI over 475 bets and the fact that we are up 29 units on this season. So we'll look to keep that going here today. But So Money, how you feeling about this Canucks team? I mean, we kind of gave you a little bit of an opportunity. Matt Russell talked about the Canucks there on Tuesday, just kind of up and down. You're hoping for some regression, but not too much. I keep looking at it. I think I told you last time you're looking at this like you're talking to Dash from The Incredibles when he's running the race against all the regular kids, telling them speed up a little bit, but not too much. We want you kind of around in the pack. How are you feeling about this Vancouver team right now?
Good. I think Talkett said it best after the game on Tuesday. It was a very business-like effort, right? Like it's tough at the end of the road trip to go to go play a shitty team that you know that you should be beating, right? But you're also at the end of a trip, right? So they it was very businesslike. They went in, they got their job done, got their 2 points. Very structured game, a little bit boring at times, but that's the way that they wanted to play that game. Got the win and got out, right? And I mean, this is something that we've talked about early in the season where the Canucks of the past, they don't win that game, right? We've seen it many times where they will just lose to a team like Chicago, right? So I'm happy with the team. I think that we are seeing a dip in their play, and that was expected. The goals are slowly starting to come down as well, which was also expected. So let's see where we go from here, right? So as long as we have the division, I think that's the most important thing to me right now. I really want to win that division.
Yeah, I mean, talking about winning the division, not falling out there, I'm going to ask you this. The idea of the President's Trophy, we know that there's this stigma attached to it, this curse, if you will. Is there any concern about the President's Trophy? Are you trying to avoid the President's Trophy if you're as a Vancouver Canucks fan right now?
So it's not that I'm trying to avoid it. It's just that like it's the President's Trophy itself is very tough for me, right? Because I don't think that the best team always wins the Stanley Cup, right? I do think that if you win the President's Trophy, you are the best team in the league, right? Like you've gone through the 82 games, you've gone through everything, and then once the playoffs hit, you are you're susceptible to all the short-term variance that like the playoffs bring, right? But to go through the regular season as the best team, you are the best team. Now, the problem is that it does put you in a difficult position because if you're in February, March, right, and you have the chance to win the President's Trophy, you're not going to go for it, right? Like it's
Right.
like as players, as teams, it's in your DNA to win, right? And if you have the opportunity to be the best team, you're going to take it. It does put you in a disadvantage because there's teams that are not necessarily trying to lose, but they have a greater margin of error to kind of figure out things that work, things that don't work. They can play around with things more. You can't because you're trying to win, right? So I think it puts you in a difficult position. It's not a curse or anything. All it is that um, you weren't given the opportunity to kind of figure out different things to adjust your game in the playoffs because you were set on the way that you're playing and trying to win every game in order for you to win the President's Trophy. I hope that the Canucks are not in a position to win because there are some things that I see that they may need to adjust in their game once the playoffs start. So I hope that they're afforded that opportunity to kind of work on those things before the playoffs as opposed to just trying to win every game because we're so close to it anyways.
Right. Yeah, the opportunity to face the adversity, kind of learn from it before you get into the point of no return where you're in the playoffs and going, oh shit, we haven't dealt with this for 82 games. Now, how do we figure this out? Seen it happen here in Toronto a couple of times, so fair
Yeah.
enough there. So money, Russ, how's it going? How's your last week been?
Good, man. All is well. Yeah, nothing's really changed. Excited to break down a big slate of games tonight. Yeah, man, all is good.
All right, well, let's get into the games for tonight. We do have 12 here. We've got a couple best bets that we've already lined up, so we'll break down each of those games. Let's first and foremost start here, Russ. I'm not sure where the number's currently at relative to what you needed, but I know ahead of the show it was moving a little bit, so we'll jump ahead a little bit to the 8 o'clock game where the Nashville Predators are hosting the Dallas Stars. Nashville plus 135, the Stars minus 140. There's a total currently sitting out there at 6 right now. Russ, is this game still within range? Is there still a number that's playable for you?
Yeah, I think it's okay to lock in. It's just been moving like crazy all morning. We were looking to play the Dallas Stars right around minus 130 ish. That number, yeah, has just gotten hammered this morning. Yeah, that betway is fine. I would lock in that minus 140 before it moves. You see some of those places like Caesars and a couple other books at minus 160. I think that's probably where it should be. That's what my numbers have anyway. Obviously would have preferred a little bit lower, but it looks like the market is agreeing with me here for once. No, these are two teams I just have going in complete opposite directions. I think that the Dallas Stars sort of turn it on this time of year. That's what they've done in the last couple of years. They know how important these games are to get after the break, and the underlying numbers say exactly that. This is a Dallas team who's very very good at defense and very good at offense, and a Nashville team who's kind of leaking a little bit on defense. 20th in expected goals allowed over the last month or so. And you look at, normally the Predators have a pretty good home ice advantage. I think that they played pretty well at Bridgestone Arena there in downtown Nashville, but that really hasn't been the case this year. 3-8 in their last 11 at home, and 1-4 in their last 5 games overall. This is a Dallas team who has no issue going on the road. They're actually a little bit better on the road this year than they are at home, which is not like them. 16-6 on the road for the Stars. So I think that this is a good price. One of these prices where I think this is a little bit low, and Nashville's kind of realizing, their season's a little bit shot, and the Stars are just, kind of turning it on at the right time. I think that Ottinger, we still have yet to see the best from Otter. So I think this next stretch of a couple of weeks, he'll really turn it on. And Saros is Saros. He's been playing pretty well. And so I really don't think there's an edge either way in goal right now. But you put this Dallas Stars top 5 offense against against the terrible Preds defense, and I think they certainly have the edge here. So I'll take the Stars as kind of a longer favorite on the road here. I think this number probably should be closer to minus 160, which is sort of where it is headed. It looks like. So yeah, happy to lock in that minus 140.
All right, well, grab the minus 140 again. As I mentioned off the top, betstamp.app/edgework. If you don't have some of these sports books, make sure to go over there and check it out. But there are numbers within minus 140 all the way up to minus 150, pretty available across a bunch of different sports books. You just got to make sure that you've got access to those and that you're signed up and doing so using betstamp.app/edgework. Now, when you're going to talk about conflicting emotions when it comes to games, this is probably top of the list for Moretto. His Preds, his Stars. He's gonna be in. He's either gonna be really, really happy watching this game or in absolute shambles because his two babies are going at it. But so money. Luckily, you don't have that problem. What's your perspective on this game, and how are you looking at it here?
Well, we always cheer for Moretto to be in shambles, so that would be the first thing. Um, Dallas is probably the quietest top five team in the league right now. They're number four in points and standings right now, and you just don't hear much about them, right? I think they've been flying under the radar all season. I think a lot of that had to do with like their little stretch of games there where they were just not playing well, and they had Ottinger out and all that. But where I view this team is similar to where Russ has it, right? I think that we are we're in a position with the Stars where they have elevated their play for the most part, and they are Ottinger is starting to round into form. The team is starting to play better defensively. A couple of days ago, I did bet them to win the President's Trophy, so I do hope that that comes through for many reasons. Um, but yeah, I think I'm not on the Stars. I think the side is fair, but I did bet the under in this game. With the under, we know how I feel about Nashville, right? They're not a team that's going to fill the net. They do need to generate a lot of chances, whereas the Stars are starting to tighten up defensively, and I think that's going to be tough for Nashville to generate the chances that they need in order to put some goals in the net. We know about Nashville defensively that concerns me, but I also feel that the pace of this game is going to be dictated by Dallas, and they do want to start tightening it up, and they are starting to get into playoff form. So I did bet the under here. Looking at the prices here, if you're not able to get a 6.5 at 120, a six at plus money is fine, but I would need like at least a plus 103 there. So are we able to do minus 120? Yeah. So
Yeah,
so
widely available there. So money.
okay. So let's lock in that under 6.5 there. I'm on the 6.5 as well. So yeah, let's do that.
Okay, we'll grab the under 6.5 minus 118. That is at a pretty widely available book there in DraftKings. Outside of that, there are a lot of minus 120s out there. So don't worry if you're not able to get one. There's another one out there at a different book, but you just got to sign up at betstamp.app/hedgework. I'm just going to keep plugging it because this is a prime example of why you got to shop around and find these. But we'll lock that in. Again, we will recap all the picks that we give out on the show at the very, very end. So don't worry about that. If you've missed one or you thought something, you heard something, and maybe not, we will give them all out as well. You can check what we're betting in the BetStamp app in the Find Better section as Edgework HQ. Now, talking about Moretto in shambles, Matt Alber in the chat here. He's going to be in shambles when Montreal is down 6-0 on the live stream later. Two things. First of all, good reminder to everybody that there is a live stream later tonight. We will be doing a watch along for the Leafs game, the Habs game, the Panthers game, the Senators game. Whatever games are starting at 7 o'clock, we'll be watching those and finishing out around 9:30, 9:45 when those 7 o'clock games are coming to a conclusion. People popping in throughout the course of the show, so make sure to stop on by later for that. The other part of this is, I don't know what Albert's talking about here because the Habs being down 6-0 and starting to turn things around the opposite way would be the ideal situation for Moretto as we go to close out this season. I think 6-1, maybe a Slafkovsky goal and like assisted by Nick Suzuki, or as Moretto called him yesterday, Patrice Bergeron. That might be the ideal night for Moretto. But you're going to want to stop by the show later. later tonight, starting at 7 p.m. for the watch along to see that all unfolds. Now, continuing to move on, we've got okay, there you go. 4-1, so we can catch the under 6. All right, okay, fair enough. uh, Moving on, we've got a couple more games here tonight that we'll take a look at that we have best bets in, and one of those, as I had just mentioned, in the 7 o'clock slate would be the Anaheim Ducks Ottawa Senators game. The Sens hosting Anaheim here, minus 202 for Ottawa. The Ducks plus 190, and a total of 6.5 right now. Russ, how is it that you're approaching this game here tonight, and with a big price here on the Senators?
Yeah, this is not shouldn't be a surprise and not a complicated handicap for me. I think anytime the Senators are lower than a 7, you got to take that over 6.5. So I think that over 6.5 at minus 125 ish is a great price. Yeah, I just think you're getting a little bit of a discount. It does look like it's moving a little bit. It's sort of back and forth, so I think it has hit a little bit of resistance. But yeah, happy to play that minus 123 at Bet Rivers. This is a Sens team who has to win in one way, and it's kind of making up for their bad defense and putting a ton of shots on goal and a ton of goals in the net. You look at their last few games and it's mainly overs, and especially when they play at home, they are 18-8-1 to the over at home. Opposite the ice, I think the Ducks, they've kind of struggled a little bit to generate anything on offense, but again, they should have no issue here against a bad defensive Sens team and against a really, really bad goalie in Korpisalo. Talked about this the last few weeks. Korpisalo is poor, to say the least. So this shouldn't be a surprise here. Ottawa is 30th in save percentage over the last month or so, and they're 4th in expected goals for. So I think the Sens could get to 4 or 5 here, and hopefully cash this ticket fairly easy. So shouldn't be a surprise. I think honestly it's almost an auto bet when they're around 6.5 to take the over here. So that's the way I'm going to go.
All right, well, we'll lock that one in. So, Money, how is it that you look at this game? Is there any bets for you?
No bets for me. I do agree in theory about the Senators' totals. Problem is, I think that we're already adjusted at the juice 6.5. Not concern, but a slight reservation on this over would be that even though Korpisalo's overall numbers are not good in this season, I am starting to see some sort of rise in his play here, right? I think that the last couple of games, for sure, he's been better. Now, if that translates to tonight's game, I'm not sure, and that's something that we need to keep an eye on. But because I'm not sure right now on how to kind of value Korpisalo, that's the reason I will be sitting out this game, because I'm not as low on him this season or in general as a goaltender as a lot of people are. If you look at his season numbers as a whole, they're not good, but I think once you start going game by game with him, you notice something that has been true throughout his whole career, that when his games are bad, they're very bad and they skew his whole numbers. And then when his games are good, he has a very high ceiling as well. So he's not a guy I would like to get involved with too much with totals. But his form going forward is something that I'll be monitoring.
All right, so no bet there for some money. We do grab another one to add to our card for today. Continue to move on here with more games up on the schedule for tonight. Before we get to the next game, though, if you're watching right now and you haven't already, please hit that like button. About just over half the people watching right now haven't liked the stream for today. Hit the like button, subscribe here to the show. Let's get to 5,000 subscribers by playoff time. And on top of that, I mean, no reason that we can't hit 100% of the viewers for today liking the stream. If you're watching, you're able to hit that like button. So hit the like button, help support us here, help continue to grow the show, and allow us to do some more content. But we'll continue to move on. Another game for tonight, the New Jersey Devils, minus 105 against the LA Kings, plus 100 right now. You're starting to see that Kings number also creeping into the minuses. You're seeing some minus 105s at Pinnacle, even pushed out a little bit farther, minus 110s or a little bit above out there on some different books. A total of 6.5 for this game tonight. Now, Russ, this Devils team was pretty kind to you last year in terms of some of the futures. We did a little bit of a video breakdown at the end of the season, how you were going to be kind of managing that position as the playoffs went on. This year, that Devils team has been an interesting one to watch and follow along with whether it's been injuries or lack of performance from their goaltenders, and yet here they are tonight. It looks like they're starting to get things rolling against the Kings team that we had seen struggle as of late and resulting in a firing of their coach. And you're seeing this New Jersey team minus 105 here. What are your thoughts on where this price is currently sitting at? And is there any way that you'd want to get involved in this game?
Yeah. Like you said, last year was awesome. This Devils team, we played on them almost every night during that 24-game win streak. This year is a lot different. Have honestly been playing against them quite a bit, but they've started to round into form, and I think they've started to figure it out. They're getting a little bit of goaltending, which they haven't had all year. And a little bit of contrarian play because the number's certainly moving against me. And I think you could honestly wait and probably get a plus money number on the Devils. It's just continued to move all morning. But yeah, I think no issue with locking in that minus 105 at Pinnacle on the Devils at home here. Yeah, you said it. I think this number is really short for what I have. This Kings team just has something wrong with them. You obviously saw the last result, 7-0 against the Sabres. It's sort of indicative of how it's been going. 4 wins in their last 19 games for the Kings. And this was a team that was really good on the road to start the year, and they're not 2-9, 2 wins in their last 11 on the road since then. So I just think that there's something deeper going on with this Kings team. It kind of infects the whole locker room when these when these losses start to happen. Look at the numbers here. This Devils team is really, really good at offense. They do struggle a little bit on defense, but I don't envision the Kings as a team that can take advantage of that. I was surprised to see this number so short overnight, and then even more surprised when it took money. So I have no issue going against the market resistance here. Excuse me. Yeah, I think the Devils should be closer to minus 120 or minus 130. So that's the way I'll go. I'll take a short home favorite here in the Devils.
Yeah,
minus 105, I think it is good.
All right, we'll lock that in. Seems like everyone in the chat is kind of in agreement of what might be wrong with the LA Kings there. It might have to do with 3 letters that would go with PLD. I'm not sure where you're at on that, So Money. I know that this one's going to be an interesting one because when we were about to start the show, you were kind of coming in looking for a bet on the LA Kings. That number's moved out of reach, but why was it that you were looking to get behind the Kings here tonight?
So we did bet the Kings. I think I was just smiling because when Russ was saying that the market moved on the Kings, yeah. So we did bet on the Kings. We have them plus money. I think it's moved a little bit here.
Yeah.
So a couple of things here, right? I don't disagree, right? In the sense that like there may be something wrong with the Kings locker room, and I mean, it could be PLD, it could be whatever, right? Like I don't disagree with that. Like I'm not in the locker room, so I don't know. But we have seen this where on good teams, sometimes the losses start piling up during the year, and even a good team can miss the playoffs, right? So I can see it from that perspective. You look at that Buffalo game, right? If I rate the Kings higher still, right? Like I think that if they get even average NHL goaltending, I think that this team is could contend. It's just that they don't get consistent average goaltending, right? So I look at that Buffalo game, and if I'm right on the Kings, if like they are a good team that just needs some help in goal, I'm willing to throw away that Buffalo game, right? It's not. It looks like an anomaly when you go through the way that they've played the last few games, especially. So I'm willing to throw that game away, right? Um, the Devils are the same thing, right? Like they have better offense, obviously. Yeah, right. Like you can Connor's right. You can say the exact same thing about the Devils, right? They are an elite team that doesn't get consistent goaltending, right? So now you have two teams that who I view as elite that both don't get consistent goaltending. Where's the edge in this game, right? So for me, the edge comes in that I feel that the Kings, they have a ceiling that they can get to defensively that can counter what the Devils want to do on offense, right? Um, and I also think that the Kings have another level offensively that they can get to, which the Devils, when you look at their when we're talking about the Devils turning it around, when you look at their games, their last couple of wins where they've looked really good, it's been against Seattle and Nashville, right? And what have we been saying about Seattle and Nashville? They're not teams that can keep up with the pace of the game, right? I don't view that. I don't view the Kings in that same light, right? So, two teams with flawed goaltending, even though Dawes is going to be starting in goal, which is their best option right now, right? So, two teams with flawed goaltending, the Devils' offense against a weaker Kings offense, but I think the Kings can get there. So that's the reason why we played the Kings. Pricing has gotten away a little bit. Um, I I had the Kings up to -108. We will get there on the number, but um, yeah. So we're on the Kings, and we rarely disagree on the Thursday show. So that does cause me some pause there as well.
That's
Yeah,
right.
for the most for the most part, when it comes to the Thursday show, I feel like we're pretty much you guys are pretty much in unison on most of these plays, or very very close to the numbers. So I mean, we lock in the Devils there, given the number that it's currently at, and where somebody was saying it was compared to where it is right now. We do grab that Devils number, but this kind of goes first head to head for you guys in terms of the Thursday show for the season, even probably dating back 2 years now or to last
Yeah.
season. So take that for what you will there in the chat. I'm going to ask people for a favor. And if we hit 50 likes here, we're a little bit away. But if we hit 50 likes here on the stream, I'm going to give out two of Matt Alber's plays here on the show. You got to hit 50 likes, but then you guys can let me know. I mean, you guys can do with the information what you will, whether you're going to fade him, whether you're going to get behind it and tail him. We might see him on the stream here later tonight on the watch along. But if we hit 50 likes, which you guys go, couple bonus bets for you for tonight. So hit the like button, and then you guys can figure out what you want to do with those plays. But like the stream, that's all I'm saying, and we can do that. Now we do have another game here that we got best bets in, so we'll get to that here now. That would be in the Tampa Bay Lightning Colorado Avalanche game. The Lightning are -1. The Lightning are -109. The Avs right now, you can find a +100, but I think a little bit more commonly available will be slightly into the minuses, -101s, -105s out there right now. Just depends on what books you have, obviously. We're seeing a total of 6.5, but those are starting to go heavily juiced to the overs, -130, -134s. Now it kind of into the 7 range. Books like Pinnacle offering plus money on that over 7 there. Russ, what are your thoughts on this game tonight? The price that we see and where the total is currently sitting at with these juiced 6.5s to the over and some 7s right now.
Yeah, I do agree with the movement on the over. I think I said last week, this Colorado team should be priced closer to 7 on most of their games, unless they're playing, a strictly defensive team. So I do agree with that. But yeah, I think this Lightning's number is a little bit short again. I think -110 is probably a little bit short. This is certainly a contrarian play. I know that this is another one that sort of moved against me, which I have no issue with kind of catching a falling knife here and playing the Lightning. But yeah, this is it's kind of a spot play for me here. I do have, despite having the Avs rated higher in power rankings than the Lightning, I think this is a good spot to play against them once again. And we've been picking on this Avs team, since the break. And I talked about it last week. And the biggest issue with them is their defense. Their defense has just been struggling to generate anything, to generate any stops at all. I think last week they were 20th in expected goals allowed. Now they've slipped all the way to 27th in expected goals allowed. They just aren't stopping anything. They've given up the second most high danger chances this season. The only team that's given more high danger chances on defense is the San Jose Sharks. So that should tell you kind of where they're at on defense. And I think this is a big issue with the Avs and something that they need to figure out, before the playoffs, because Georgiev is not good enough to save them in net, and especially when he's facing that many shots in the game. So again, I think we played against the Avs last week and we won. Love playing against the Avs when they're on the road, especially with a Lightning team who's just awesome at home. Lightning are 17-5 this year at home. Both these teams are really, really good home teams and kind of mediocre middle of the road teams. So this shouldn't, I don't think this should be a surprise in where I'm going here. But I think Tampa Bay should probably be closer to minus 125-ish. Vasilevsky's starting to round into form. He's 12th in expected goals allowed over the last month or so. Georgiev is just sort of mid. I mean, he was kind of bad for a couple weeks there. Then he was decent. He never really has gotten to that top 10 in expected goals allowed this year at all, which is kind of what they expected, when they got him. They expect to outscore their problems. And, I do think this is going to be a high-scoring back-and-forth game, but I give the edge to Tampa Bay, especially at home against a bad Avs defense. So I think that minus 110 is short to sum it all up. So that's the way we're going.
All right, well, we get the opportunity to get an extra cent better than that, so we'll get the minus 109, and there are a bunch out there. You can find those on Canby Books. You can find that at Pinnacle. So, again, make sure to shop around. But there are a lot of minus 110s out there, so don't stress. If you can't get that minus 109, the minus 110 is available. We'll lock that in. Before I hand this one over to So Money to give a breakdown, we're about 10 likes away now for those 2 free picks from Alber, the bonus picks for tonight's game. Again, you do with them what you want, whether you're looking to fade them, if you're looking to tail them, whatever. But 10 likes away. Keep hitting that like button. We'll get those 2 plays to you. Now, So Money, where are you coming in at on this game here tonight between Tampa and Colorado? I know this is one for myself, at least. I'm going to be interested in watching.
Yeah, I do agree here. I'm on Tampa Bay as well. Smaller though. The couple of things here. Colorado, their 6-3 win against Washington, where they did play well. It doesn't take away from me how they played against New Jersey, Carolina, and Florida. Right, three really good teams, where they just look like shit, and they deserve to lose those games. They stepped down in class against Washington, and of course they look good. Like you should be looking good against Washington, right? So, I worry about that from the Avs perspective. From Tampa Bay, that is a team that I do want to bet on, right? And we were waiting for kind of how long it takes Vasilevsky to get back into form, and this team kind of coming together. Vasilevsky is back, right? I can confidently say that his last few games, it's not just his game scores, but like just watching him play, his movements, I think that he's back, right? So I think that is where I have the edge right now. It's a Tampa Bay team that I feel is on the rise. They're not as good right now, obviously, as Florida and Carolina, who Colorado did not look good against, but they are starting to elevate their play to that level. So that's where I have the edge in this game, and that's the reason why I'm on Tampa Bay. It's small, and the reason I'm betting it small is because there's a lot of assumptions there as well. More assumptions than I'm comfortable with normally. So that's the reason I'm going small. Otherwise, I'd be fully on Tampa Bay as well.
All right, there you go. An endorsement. We just go from one game where we've got kind of a head-to-head situation between Russ and So Money there, where for probably one of the first times ever on the Thursday show, they're not completely in unison on the side that we're on or the total that we're on, but they're back it up, close this one out with double on tip, or at least the same similar confidence on the Tampa Bay Lightning here tonight against the Avalanche. Now there's about 5 likes away here from 2 picks from Alber. Also want to clarify here as well. We're going to be doing this watch along tonight starting at 7. Moretto and I will be on there from the beginning. We'll I'll go through each of the games, watch those along, whether we're betting ahead of time, live betting throughout the games, whatever it is, we'll be watching, sweating out our bets. So make sure to come in there and join. And on top of that, the one thing that has happened here is So Money, I'm not going to welch on this bet. I will follow through. The one chip is not available in Canada because of health risks that it was
Illegal.
causing to
No
people.
way. Oh my god, that's awesome.
So yeah, so they don't sell it on the shelves, and it's extremely hard to get in Canada. You have to go to the States and get it and bring it back, which I did not have
Smuggle it,
time to
you gotta
do.
smuggle it across the border.
That's so funny.
Yeah. So
That's crazy.
what we're going to do is we're going to source the chat and you guys in the chat and people online to help come up with a new challenge. Moretto and I were throwing some things around out there. I have some other stuff that we have in mind that we could potentially do. Obviously, So Money would like you to agree to it as well, considering you were the other side of that. But we need to come up with something new. I went to the grocery store over the last couple of days. Went to one last night, and I was like, "Where's the chip?" And they're like, "Oh, well, we had to pull it off the shelves because people were getting seriously injured." So I was like, "Okay, well, that's probably a fair reason for me to not be doing this one here, sitting on my own on camera in front of people live." So that's what's going on with the one chip. We're going to figure something else out. I promise. I'm not welching on that bet. But that being said, tune into the stream here tonight, and we'll sort it out. Now, 2 likes away again from those free Alber picks, but we only go through couple different games here today because these are games that we have bets in, but that doesn't mean there's not other things that you guys are looking for or waiting for some information on. Now, obviously, one of those would be the Maple Leafs. I saw Russ there that now all 3 guys are announced that they're looking to be playing in this game tonight. That was one you and I had talked about before we got on the show, but even outside of that, are there any other games that you're looking at here tonight? Maybe the price just isn't there quite yet for you, or on top of that, maybe you're just waiting for some information to come out before you make a decision and jump in with bets.
I mean, I think that is probably all I'll have. You know, four bets is kind of a high volume night for me. With those guys back for Toronto, I certainly do lean that way. I think this Flyers team has been playing well, you know, recently, but I think the Leafs are in a little bit of a different class. You know, I'd prefer a cheaper price, and it looks like minus 140-ish. It's kind of bouncing around all over the place, but I kind of lean towards the Leafs here. I don't think I'll get involved just because of the high variance with this team. Other than that, you know, I think that this Red Wings Vancouver Canucks game is pretty interesting. These are 2 teams that my model certainly has value against every night. I think that some of these Red Wings numbers are crazy over the last month or so, and somehow they do continue to find wins. And so this is one of the few times where my numbers agree with the high price on the Canucks. So I won't have a play. I think the over is an interesting look there, but honestly, I think that's pretty much it for me. You know, what do you got, So Money?
I'm looking for the under in the Detroit Canucks game. I think that we should be able to get a plus money 6.5, right?
Yeah.
So I think we can go ahead and lock that in. Detroit does profile as an under team. I think you can. I'm pretty comfortable in throwing out that 8-4 game. That's not against the Oilers. That's not the way that the Wings are playing, and that's not the way that the kind of game that they do want to play. So I think they just got sucked into a back and forth, and like the game just snowballed. That's not the way that the Wings want to play. For the Canucks, they did play the Wings on Saturday, I believe. Yeah. So they played the Wings on Saturday. That game went over, but that I scored that as a very easy under game, right? I think that there was some goaltending issues on both sides that kind of were the reason why that game went over. But the way that the teams played against each other, they did play that as an under. Obviously, we know that the Canucks are stressing defense right now. Obviously, they can score, but they're also playing against a team that that also wants to tighten up defensively. And if we're right about the Canucks kind of dipping in terms of filling the net a little bit, I think plus money unders, especially at 6.5, provides a lot of value in that respect. So those are the reasons why I'm on the Canucks under tonight too.
All right, there you go. We'll grab another one to add to the card there, under 6.5 plus 110. Russ, what are your thoughts on that game, that Canucks Red Wings game?
Yeah, honestly, my numbers do have it kind of where the market is at. But when you look at some of these numbers, I think it was Moretto who said it on Tuesday. This Red Wings team is 32nd in expected goals for over the last month. Just abysmal. Some of these shots that have been going in for them are very, very lucky and very unexpected. Like they're 0.4 lower than the next team in expected goals generated over the last month. And then we talked about it last week. I think this Canucks defense is playing very well lately. And I think that this is probably a good look at kind of a surprising number to get plus 110 on that under 6. So I generally agree, despite the fact that I do my numbers do kind of agree with the market, but just not looking at the model or whatever, I do agree with the under 6.5, especially at plus 110. So yeah, I think that should be a really good game. The Red Wings have been playing pretty well, but has it been kind of lucky and smoke and mirrors? This is a good test for them on the road.
All right, there you go. As we'll lock that one in, and as Brian here says, sorry, you degenerates, hit that like button. Keep hitting the like button. With that being said, we have hit 50 here.
Oh, beautiful! Last week we gave out the winning Super Bowl prop last week, and now
good job, you guys.
Exactly.
It was a little bit of a sweat. Justin Reed had 9 tackles, and then the Wild and the Knights go out and put up 8 goals. So it was certainly a sweat. But yeah, so we'll jump to a winning Super Bowl prop to Matt Alber plays, I guess. He even says, with my record this year, they should be free.
All right, well, we'll give those out here in 1 second. I do see questions in the chat, and I don't want to ignore people. We appreciate all the support. We appreciate participation and stuff like that. Let's first and foremost answer this. This is not necessarily a betting related question, but just in terms of some hockey stuff going on right now. Jarmo Kekalainen out in Columbus as of this morning, and Evan Alexander says, with Columbus firing their GM, could we see a full-on tear it down to the studs rebuild before the trade deadline? I'm kind of interested with this team and how things are going. Obviously, you go out and you acquire Johnny Gaudreau. This is his 2nd season with the team now, I believe. You have Patrick Laine, who's taken some time away. He kind of has had his own issues there, whether it's been just kind of not meshing with coaches, not fitting into system, whatever it is. And then on top of that, now you've added on a guy like Adam Fantilli. You're hearing they're going to be moving on from guys like Boone Jenner, Andrew Peak, whatever it might be, kind of taking some pieces away. But I don't know, so many. What are your thoughts on the idea of the Columbus Blue Jackets going scorched earth on this roster and kind of shipping everyone out as they approach the deadline?
I don't know. I don't know if they're going to do it for the deadline. I think eventually they will. With these kind of like major roster overhauls, where you're you're basically gutting the whole team. You're generally not going to see that at the trade deadline. I think that you're more. I'm more inclined to think that they're going to do that over the summer when they have better options and there's teams who are better positioned with the cap to kind of give them the return that they need. I think trade deadline is too tough.
Russ, I'll throw this next question to you here. Mike Bromberg asking, this one is disgusting. This is just a disgusting question. Blackhawks, a decent look at this price. We see the Blackhawks plus 181 right now, Pittsburgh minus 200. What are your thoughts on the price? Is it close to within range? Not there at all? What are your thoughts?
No, yeah, not close for me. You're asking the wrong guys, as I've said before. Generally, so money, and I agree on this. I'm very much higher than the market on the Penguins. Have been all year, for better, for worse. It's bit me a couple times. Their power play just is terrible. It doesn't generate anything, but they're getting really, really good goaltending. So honestly, I think this price should probably be a little bit higher. I think that Bedard is still out for the Blackhawks. And this is not a team, and the Blackhawks, this is not a team I ever want to play on. I hardly ever get disgusting on this show. Played the San Jose Sharks a couple times this year, and that was enough for me, enough of a sweat. So honestly, I think at minus 200 is probably a little bit cheap on the Pens here. They're in a back-to-back, but they should get Nedeljkovic tonight, who's been fine in goal. And I trust the Penguins' offense. Their defense is a little bit shaky, but like I said, I'm generally a little bit higher than market on all Pens games, and so this is no different for me. I obviously won't have a play on a back-to-back. Pens on the road at more than minus 200 or so, but generally speaking, I do think according to my model and what I've got, this number is a little bit short, and no, I'm not touching the Blackhawks here.
All right. Well, I don't know if this might help people. Russ says no, not touching the Blackhawks. Matt Alber, I hear the Wednesday show might end up on the Hawks tonight. And then adds on, which is why the Wednesday show has a negative 69% ROI. All right. Well, there you go. Now, on top of all the picks that were given out here today on today's show, the ones that are official, the ones that we lock in, if you've been paying attention to the chat, for those of you who are watching live, you would have seen a couple bonus ones come in there. First and foremost, Moretto confirming to our friend Jordan Mosul in the chat, bet the Oilers under 6.5 already. So there's another ghost pick from Moretto. And on top of that, in unison with Russ and So Money on the Wings Canucks under 6.5. So a triple down on that Wings Canucks under. And then on top of that, I told you guys we would give out 2 Alber picks. I'm going to do it. I'm going to give these picks out. These are not official tracked picks. These are ghost picks, bonus picks for everyone who stuck around and watched the show and for everyone who liked the stream. So first and foremost, we're going to be looking at the Habs Rangers game. Matt Alber is looking at a plus money under 6 between the Habs and the Rangers. There are some minus 101s, minus 105s out there. He grabbed a plus money on the under 6 in the Habs Rangers. He will be in attendance at that Rangers game tonight, and he will likely be calling into the show from MSG, live from MSG on a Thursday night. So there you go. There's the first one. And the second one, So Money Russ. I could not be more proud to announce this to you guys. We talked about the prices of where it was at. We kind of briefly touched on the game, but we didn't get too much into it. Matt Alber tonight is on the Toronto Maple Leafs. That is right, ladies and gentlemen. Matt Alber is on the Toronto Maple Leafs. Wait for that price to continue to come in, the money to continue to come in on the Leafs, continue to push this one out, and then jump in on the Flyers, because the Leafs are a folding team. They're not going to show up here tonight against the Flyers with a bunch of Toronto boys coming into town. They're all going to be fired up. This Leafs team, everyone's so excited. You get Nylander back, you get Tavares back, you get Marner back. The price will probably get to about where it should be with those guys coming back. But then this fraudulent team not only has the backing of Alber, but they also have the fact that everyone's going to get excited and think that they should be winning. The Flyers on the other side at plus money, a bit decent plus money. That should be the play for tonight. So there you go. There's everyone knows what's going on tonight. The Rangers and the Habs under 6 plus money for Alber. And the Leafs money line is where he's coming in at. Yes, and Joe was saying is Alber trying to be a bigger fade than Hitman? Potentially. Potentially. But that'll do it for today's show. To recap the picks that we have here, we've got a bunch. Every single one of these coming in and locked in at a full unit. So recapping today's show, we've got 6 plays. First and foremost, Anaheim, Ottawa, over 6.5, minus 123. Then we go to the Devils money line against the LA Kings, minus 105 there. The Tampa Bay Lightning money line, minus 109 against Colorado. The Nashville Dallas under 6.5, minus 118 as well. Taking the Dallas Stars minus 140 money line. And finally, a triple best bet across these guys, or at least endorsed here by Russ and bet already by Moretto. The Red Wings Canucks under 6.5 plus 110. Those are our bets for tonight. If you enjoyed the show and you haven't already, hit that like button, subscribe here to the channel on your way out. So Money, Russ, thank you guys as always for doing this, taking the time, ripping through all these games for tonight and giving out your bets and your insight. We do appreciate that, myself and the chat. So thank you guys very much for that. For the chat, thanks already for everyone who hit that like button. We'll see, hopefully, all of you and more tonight at 7 p.m. for tonight's watch along. Looking forward to that one. We appreciate all the support. We appreciate you guys all showing up to these. And if you haven't already, head on over to the Circles Off YouTube channel after this one and watch the live stream that happened on Monday. There's no episode coming out today because we did the live stream on Monday, so make sure to go and watch that. But thanks to everyone who watched. Thanks to everyone who supports. Enjoy the games tonight, and good luck in your bets.